Hello, I'm Peter Grist, and I run Peter Grist and Company, which is a dance company that's been running since kind of 2008. And I set it up in Manchester. It's kind of been running ever since, and we've kind of performed all over. And I kind of tend to choreograph pieces kind of once a year. This piece, which is my new piece called the White Chalk Diaries, has kind of been in the works for a couple of years now, and I've been really interested in kind of the concept of the White Chalk Diaries, which I'll kind of explain in a minute. So, what is the White Chalk Diaries? Well, basically, it's a concept that came to me a couple of years ago. Not many of you know, but I was actually adopted on my dad's side, and I'm obviously mixed race. And I've been brought up in a very religious family. And then kind of when I hit my teenage and I found out that I was gay, there was a lot of commotion in terms of my family, and I felt very confused as a teenager, as a young mixed race black teenager, and I didn't really know where I fitted in at all, and I found it quite difficult at school to, in terms of which crowds I should kind of hang around with and who I was as a person, and it was quite confusing. And I suppose it wasn't until much later that I realised that I was quite different to anyone else, and I've not been brought up with knowing my black roots, or knowing where I've kind of come from, and that was quite difficult for me. The reason why I've kind of used chalk, and I suppose a lot of people keep asking me, Peter, why is it called the White Chalk Diaries? The reason why it's called the White Chalk Diaries is I've used a lot of chalk in the piece. So I in the promotional pictures, I know you've seen me with a white face, and that's kind of to show, that colour is only skin deep. And even though I'm kind of mixed race, I feel kind of white because I've been brought up in a predominantly white family, and I feel that kind of it shows that side of me. So I've kind of got a white face. I've been brought up in that family, but it's just so easy to wipe it off, and underneath you'll see my kind of true skin colour. I thought this piece would be really interesting as well, because I know there's a lot of young people out there that struggle with their sexuality, but struggle in terms of dealing with themselves, I suppose, and it's a very confusing world out there. And I like my work to really hopefully inspire young people, especially kind of young gay men. That's the kind of audience I try and hit. And I know there's lots of mixed messages out there. The media send out such a sexual sense, and it's really confusing for young people. And I want to tell young people that it's okay to kind of be who you are, and it doesn't matter where you come from, or if you're adopted, or if you're mixed race. That it's good to be you, and it's good to be successful. And hopefully, I'm kind of proving that in terms of the work that I'm kind of putting across. And I suppose that's why it's an important piece to me, because I've been through it and I've come out the other side. Gosh, I feel like it's like an X Factor story, but it's X Factor sob story, but it's not. But it's dealing with those concepts, so religious beliefs and betrayal and kind of identity, because I didn't really know who I was. And I think a lot of people, they want to grow up so fast, and they think they know who they are, and they're really excited, and they end up experimenting with things that maybe they shouldn't. I believe you should be a child for as long as possible, and then realize what you want, and you're only a child once, and don't kind of wish that away, because there's no point in wishing it away. The piece is basically split up into different sections. It basically starts off as a solo. So there's I love voice work, and I'm using quite a lot of voice in my new piece. And there's other people's opinions as well. I kind of got a clip of something from YouTube, which is an interview with a church in America, that says that homosexuality within the church is wrong. And so that really inspired me. Now I kind of question that, whether homosexuality in the church is wrong. And as a gay person, or a gay man, or a gay woman, should we be shunned away from religious things such as the church? So I've kind of explored that and kind of talked to people all over the world, especially in kind of America, in terms of where they think they stand in terms of the church. So I've interviewed quite a lot of pastors and ministers out in America and also in Britain as well. And I've talked to one particular pastor whose name's Kevin Edward Taylor in America, who's a gay pastor who runs his own church. And he had some amazing stories to tell me. He kind of really inspired me. And even though I've never really met him kind of face to face, the stories that he told me through email have really inspired me, and they kind of spurred me on to kind of carry on with the piece. And that's kind of where I'm going in April to perform the piece again. So in his church, which will be really exciting. But obviously the first stop is here in Manchester at Contact Theatre on the 9th of February in Space One. I suppose for myself as a young choreographer, it's really important for me to show a message that's important, and as well as choreographing pieces, I also teach. And I suppose my kids really inspire me. You know, they're really young, they're kind of 16 to 19, but they're full of life and they're full of zest and they're really cheeky, and it's good to see them every day and see them come in and take class with me and be really excited about things, you know. And I kind of remember myself as a teenager, I always used to moan, which I can see kind of parallels from me to them in terms of the way they are. You know, everyone comes in and they're having bad days and stuff, but I try and instill kind of a positive message in each of their lives. So hopefully once they leave the college that I teach at, that they also learn how to become a better dancer, but also a better person, and think positively about life. And that's, I think, the most important thing is, as long as you're a positive person and you take every situation in a positive sense, then you kind of can't go wrong. And it doesn't matter about the negative things that have gone on in your life. Use them in a positive way to help you learn and kind of succeed. Yeah. Why should you come to see the White Chalk Diaries? Okay, if you're a young person, or even if you're not, I think a mixed audience is good. But understanding how, you know, young people think in today's world, it's a very confusing world, like I said before, and I think it's really important as a community or as a society that we understand that, you know, people are different, and it doesn't matter if you're different. And hopefully the piece will be able to touch people in, you know, in any way, shape or form, you know. And there's also kind of, I touch on relationships in the piece as well. And there's kind of a table duet that's in the piece, and the table represents a barrier between these two people. So hopefully everyone will be able to get something from the piece. So yeah, last but not least, really, I just hope to see you at the Contact Theatre on the 9th of February. I hope you'll come down and kind of support the piece, and it'll be really exciting to kind of see you guys in the audience. You can get tickets through the Contact website. I'll kind of flash up a little thing at the end so you can get tickets, but also you can ring the box office on 0161 274 0600, and you'll be able to get tickets that way. But please hurry up. February is not too long away, and I'm sure tickets will sell quite fast. Thanks very much for listening. I'll see you there.